Today's webinar is called The Top Tips for Managing Email. I am Jana Fung and I will be presenting the content today. And my role is I'm the product marketer here at Boomerang. And Boomerang is a productivity tool for managing your inbox more efficiently. So part of my job is to help educate current customers and users learn how to use the product and gain the most out of your Boomerang subscription. So if you want to join the conversation on social media, you can use the hashtag Boomerang webinar, or you can tweet at us. Our handle is @Boomerang, and we can get started. Okay, so back in the old days, when the internet had not existed yet, we would go about our days only having to check our mailboxes once a day. And when we read our email, we would go through it and we wouldn't really need to check it again until the next day. And we actually didn't have to worry about mail at all on Sundays. So nowadays with the internet and email has become somewhat of an epidemic almost because based on a study that was conducted earlier last year, there are now 269 billion emails sent every day. And so if you're an average office worker, you're likely receiving over 10 dozen emails every day. So this is a lot of emails to catch up on. It's more than the mail that you used to receive in your snail mail inbox. And in addition to that, a lot of us have more than one email inbox. So sometimes we'll have a work email address, and then we'll also have our personal email address, and then maybe any additional ones if we're doing anything on the side. So unfortunately for us, email isn't really going away anytime soon. It's actually forecasted to increase over the next few years. And by the end of 2021, an estimated 316 billion emails will be sent every day. So how do we combat this and make sure we're getting through all the emails that we need to get through, because we aren't actually getting any more time in the day to sort through these emails, but we're getting more emails every day as we look forward to the future. So this webinar is going to cover how to stay productive with email. I'm also going to talk about the best times to send emails for responses, and then how to manage your inbox with Boomerang. And then at the end, I'm going to save some time for questions and answers. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type them in the attendee chat box on the left, and I will get to them at the end. I also wanted to let you guys know that this session is being recorded. So if for some reason you have to drop off, we'll be recording the session and we'll send it to you by the end of the week. So before we jump into the content, I want to just take a quick poll here on who's been able to join the call. And this will help me understand who's on the call today and help tailor the content for you. So if you can add your business role here, that would be helpful. And then, okay, cool. So it looks like we have some IT support folks, as well as sales representatives and HR people on the and HR recruiting professionals on the call today. So I'm going to try to give you guys a few examples of use cases that you can use in your profession when you use email. Okay, so let's get started. So how to stay productive with email. There was a study that was conducted a few years ago by the University of British Columbia, where two groups of knowledge workers were studied, and based on their email habits, a few things were shown. So subgroup A was actually able to look at their emails as much as they wanted to. So they could check their emails over 100 times a day if they wanted to, and then could respond whenever they wanted to as well. On the other hand, subgroup B was actually told to only look at their emails 3 times a day. So they could take as long as they needed to respond to their emails, but they were only told to check their emails 3 times a day. And both groups of knowledge workers sent and received the same amount of messages, but what the study found was that subgroup B actually did so in 20% less time and they reported to feel less stressed at the end of the day. So what was happening here was that researchers that were checking their emails incessantly, they would get notifications that would interrupt their workflow and distract them, while so I guess when they're working on something, it would be distracting. They would have to read the email right away, but they weren't ready to respond at that moment. So they would mark the email as unread. Then they would come back to it later and they'd have to read the email again and process how to respond again. And all of that was just wasted time. With subgroup B, these people only checked their emails a few times a day and they could focus more on what they needed to do outside of their emails, outside of their email inboxes. So they didn't have to really multitask as much or feel distracted and stressed. It was a much more productive way for them to get work done in the same amount of time. And so if we think about what our job, like our primary job roles are at work, especially if you're like in IT or HR or sales, many of us are not paid to just check our emails. We have things to do outside of our email inboxes. And so to give you a sense of how much time you're going to gain back in the day, if you gain 20% of your time, on average, people spend about 2.5 hours a day in their emails. So if you can get that extra half hour back in your day, you can, maybe leave early from the office or get an extra break or work on something new, start a project that has been kind of outstanding for you. So obviously turning off email notifications, especially with the mobile world nowadays, it's not very easy. It's a very disciplined practice that you have to like mindfully be aware of. And so Boomerang has a tool that can help you with this. So I'll show you that a little later in the demo. The next thing I want to talk about is the best times to send emails. So email today is not always, I know we made the comparison to snail mail, but it's also a lot faster than snail mail. So a lot of us use email today as a form of communication, and we send emails normally to remind someone of something or to get a response to something that's blocking us in the workplace. So generally when we're waiting on a response for one of our emails, all of that is just wasted time. So it would obviously be most ideal if we could reduce this wasted time and get a higher response rate to our emails that we need responses to. So at Boomerang, we conducted a study a few years ago and we looked at millions of emails and the timestamp data that was attached to those emails. And based on those findings, we found that a well-timed email between 6 to 7 a.m. of the recipient's time zone is 30% more likely to receive a response than a poorly timed one. So the thinking goes like this. Let's say you schedule your email first thing in the morning. What is the first thing that people do when they get to their office? They probably grab their morning coffee, they sit at their desk, and they open their inbox. And so if your email is at the top of their inbox, they're more likely to get to it quickly before they get too busy with other meetings or other projects that they have to do throughout the day that pulls them away from their email. So on the other hand, let's say you sent your email late at night and your recipient has already left the office for the day. They might have notifications on, so they might actually read the email, but by the time they are back at the office and ready to respond to the email, if we go back to the other study where we're getting emails throughout the day, they might already have like another dozen emails on top of your email by the time they get back to the office the next morning. And so your email is probably going to be buried under those other emails that came in overnight. So they're not as likely to see it quickly, and it may get forgotten about. So in an ideal world, of course, we would want to be awake at 6 a.m. To send all of our draft emails at the time that would allow us to get higher response rates, but we're not all going to be awake at that time. And so how do we make sure we try to do this more efficiently so we don't have to be sitting in front of our computers at 6 in the morning to click send on all our draft emails? So Boomerang has a tool, it's called Send Later, and I'll show you how to use that as well in the demo slides next. So now we're going to talk about how to manage your email inbox. This is going to take you into the UI of our product. and also show you how, like, some best practices for managing both incoming emails and the emails that you're drafting and sending out. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Let me know if you can see it. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. And I want to just go over like how we would recommend going into your inbox every day and managing your emails. So let's go back to the study where we talked about the knowledge workers who were able to spend 20% less time in their inbox by only checking their emails 3 times a day. So Boomerang has a tool. It's called Inbox Pause, and this can actually apply this practice to the way you manage your email on a day-to-day basis. So once you have Boomerang installed, you'll see on the top here in your top ribbon that there's 2 buttons. There's one called Open Boomerang and one called Inbox Pause. And so I want to pause my inbox right now because I want to actually read all my emails, but I don't want to get interrupted while I'm reading my emails by other emails that are coming in at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Inbox Pause. And here you'll see all of the settings and options that you can do to customize your paused inbox. So we have a setting that allows you to turn on an autoresponder, and this is almost like an out-of-office auto reply to anyone who emails you while your inbox is paused. So this one says, "Thanks for emailing. I paused my inbox so I won't see your email for a while. If this is urgent, please contact me another way." And so you can have that on just to let people know that you'll be a little bit slower to respond. Alternatively, we also have delivery exceptions, and this can be thought of almost as like an insurance policy for any emails that are really urgent, so you don't miss anything that potentially requires your attention. So as you can see here, if the email is sent with high importance, you can still receive those emails as they come in. I added from specific email addresses, so if you want to still receive emails from your boss, you can add your boss's email address here. From specific domains. So let's say you are an IT person and you are expecting potentially one of your colleagues to write in about something that might require your immediate attention, but you don't know who's going to write in about it. You can add your entire company's domain here. Or if you're in sales, you can add in your clients' domains here, so you don't need to memorize all their email addresses. You can just add their domains here, and you'll receive all of those emails from those people. You can also add in keywords as delivery exceptions. So if you have any emails that contain the words urgent or ASAP or immediately, that way you'll receive all of those emails as they come in. So delivery exceptions is pretty cool, just to make sure you don't let anything fall through the cracks while your inbox is paused. So to unpause your inbox, there's a couple ways to do that. So there's an option to automatically unpause it after an hour, and you can customize that time frame. So here's a few options here, or you can have a specific time. I'm just going to select an hour here because I'm going to give a webinar right now, so I don't want my inbox to be giving me notifications, so I'm just going to pause it for an hour. However, you can take it to another level that almost mirrors the study that we talked about. And so this option that says deliver messages on a schedule allows you to really customize what times you check your email. So here I have it checked for weekdays only, and I have it at 3 times a day. But you can actually add as many times as you want or take away times, and this will allow you to be a little bit more productive so that you know, like, at this time, this is my email time, I need to check my emails. And so that's how Inbox Pause works. You would just go ahead and click the pause button. And now we can actually focus on the emails that I have in my inbox and not have to worry about incoming messages interrupting me while I'm writing and responding to emails. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, or now we can go through our inbox and I can show you how to use Boomerang for sorting and archiving certain messages that you'll need later. And one thing I want to mention before we go through this is the goal here is to get to inbox 0. So we don't necessarily want to just keep a million emails in our inbox, because then it'll overwhelm us and we'll be compelled to keep reading them over and over again when they don't even actually require immediate attention. And so the things that we want to keep in our inbox are new emails, obviously, and things that require immediate attention. So in this email from Roger, it says, "Hi, Jana. Thank you for reaching out. I'd love to work together, but I'm traveling right now. Can you check back in with me next Tuesday?" So it's Thursday today, so I don't want to respond right now, but I also don't want to forget to respond on Tuesday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Open Boomerang here. And I can actually have this message returned to my inbox on a specific date or time that I want it to. So for me, because I don't need to respond to him until Tuesday, I'm going to put Tuesday at 6 a.m. I want this email thread to surface back in my inbox. Another cool feature, because this email is kind of lacks a little bit of context into what type of marketing partnership Roger and I talked about, I can add a note to myself here and put Roger wanted to collaborate on a webinar. And then that way, this note, in addition to the email thread, will be resurfaced back to my inbox on the day that I wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click confirm. And you'll notice that this message will no longer be in my inbox. So the next message I have is a confirmation number for the marketing conference that I'm attending. It says that I should keep this for my records, but the conference isn't until January. So especially if you're in sales or do a lot of travel or anything where you're going to conferences or have airline like bookings or hotel travel and stuff, you do need to keep your confirmation numbers, but you don't necessarily need them if it's going to be far in the future. And so you can also have this resurface at the top of your inbox when you need it. I'm going to click Open Boomerang in the ribbon. I'm going to put to return this message in my inbox on January 14th. And then confirm that. So this last message here is says your inbox is paused. And this is the one email that you're going to get when you pause your inbox. And this is almost like for if you ever want to unpause your inbox. Let's say you left the office and you forgot to unpause it automatically, but you really need to access certain emails. If you don't have access to this button here because you're already on your mobile device, you can just access this email and unpause it by clicking here. So for now, I'm just going to archive this. And now we're at inbox 0, which is like the desired state of your inbox. So now you can kind of move on to other things that you need to do throughout the day. And you don't have to worry about all the emails that are still in your inbox that because you've already kind of sorted through them, and you don't have to worry about it because Boomerang will return those to you when you need them. If you are freaking out though about like, where are my emails? Because what if I need to contact Roger earlier than Tuesday, or what if I need to see that confirmation number for a discount for another conference? You can see that there's a Boomerang folder here on the left, and you'll be able to see all the emails that you have boomeranged for later. Okay, so that's inbox 0 and inbox pause. I do want to go over just one more, or like how to compose emails with Boomerang and do it efficiently, and then make sure you maximize your subscription usage. So here's a couple of emails that I have drafted. And so we already learned that the best time to send these emails is between 6 and 7 a.m. So that's why I haven't clicked send on them yet, but we can go through them now and I'll show you how to do that with Boomerang. So here's an email to Roger. It says, this is a gentle reminder to please prepare the marketing slides for our all hands meeting on Wednesday. And so I'm going to want to send this later. You can do that here by setting a custom time. And then because the meeting is on Wednesday, maybe I might want to remind Roger on Monday morning. And we can go ahead and confirm that. And so now that email is still going to be in your draft folder because it hasn't been sent yet, but it's scheduled to send. Let's say the all hands meeting is actually a monthly meeting that we have every month, and we want to send this every month. We can actually set it up to schedule a recurring message instead of just sending it next Monday, because otherwise we'll have to keep sending it every month. So here, you have the option. So I'm going to start it to send next Monday at 6 a.m., but I want to do it every month with no end date. And then here you can click schedule, and now you never have to worry about sending this email again. You're always going to have your marketing slides ready for your all hands meeting. For that particular use case with Boomerang, it's going to not be in the drafts folder anymore. It's going to be in this folder here under drafts. It's called Boomerang Recurring. So if you ever need to edit it, you can do that there. The next thing I wanted to show you is how we talked about emails being used because you're waiting on a response for something. A lot of the times when we're reaching out to someone for something, we need a response. And on top of that, we don't always get it. So we might need to actually follow up with the person if we don't get a response. So there's a cool tool in Boomerang. It's called Remind Me. Here. And you can have this remind yourself if you don't get a response to have this email thread surface back at the top of your inbox. But because I want to send later and remind me, I'm going to just open Boomerang and I can have both of those options available. So I'm going to go ahead and remind me in 2 days if there's no reply. Actually, let's read the email, sorry. So the email says, hi, Joe, our sales event is next month and I'd like to invite your prospects via email next week. Will you please send me your invitation list by end of day on Wednesday? So I want this email to go out at 6 a.m. his time. Probably tomorrow morning would be the best. And then maybe in 4 days, actually, if I don't get a reply, I am going to follow up with Joe. But I don't have to worry about it. If he does respond before then, this won't obviously be a problem and I won't need to do it. So any emails that you're waiting on a response for, I highly recommend just adding this remind me feature for all the emails that you send out, because it's an unlimited subscription with Boomerang. You can just use it for as many messages as you want. And then I'm going to have it send later for tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And that way, Joe's going to see it at the best time for him. And also, if he doesn't respond in a certain time frame, I'll be reminded of it, and I'll follow up with him to get me his invitation list. Okay. So the last email draft that I have is to Jeff. And this email says, I wanted to set up some time to discuss the Q4 product roadmap. What time works best for you? And so this is a use case for email. A lot of us do this where we're emailing people, trying to schedule time to chat with them or meet with them. And a lot of the times if we're reaching out to people who are not in our organization, we won't have access to their calendars of when they're free. And so it's a lot of back and forth emails where we ask, oh, what time works best for you? And then they have to check their calendar, and then they have to respond. And then you have to read their email, check your calendar, and make sure that works for your schedule. If it doesn't, then you kind of have to start the whole process over again. So Boomerang has a cool tool. It's called Suggest Times, and it will allow you to reduce a lot of those steps when you're trying to schedule meetings with people through email. So here, if you click on Open Boomerang, you'll see this thing called Suggest Times. And this product sync is only going to be 30 minutes. And then you'll see your calendar here. So these are all my meetings, and then these are right here. And then anything that's open, I can schedule over. So I want to look at next week, and maybe I will suggest times for 2 o'clock and also 3 o'clock. So here I'm gonna include this availability in the email, and you'll see it here. It's added at the top, but I'm gonna add it underneath. And it says, here are some times I'm available. Please click on the time that works best for you. Calendar invitations will be sent to both of us. And so this way, once Jeff clicks on one of these meeting invites or meeting suggested invites, he'll get a calendar invite, and you'll also get a calendar invite. So you don't ever have to like recheck your calendar again. And hopefully he is available during one of these times. So in this scenario, I'm definitely going to remind myself in 2 days if I don't get a reply from Jeff, because I feel like we need to still talk about this roadmap. In addition, I want to send this later. So I'm going to send this tomorrow at 6 a.m. and click confirm. So that's how you would use Boomerang just to help you manage your outgoing emails and make it more efficient for you. There are a couple other features, but I know we're kind of getting over time. So there's only one more thing that I really, really wanted to show you, which is if we go back to Open Boomerang, let's say you want to edit one of your send later messages or recurring messages, or you just want to see the messages that you have that are set up to remind you. You can go to the Manage page here. It's at the bottom. And you'll see all the messages that we just covered is going to be in here. So Boomerang, if not replied, are all in here. These are your messages to send later. These are the ones we scheduled in this demo. And then here's the recurring message for the marketing slides. So if we wanted to, let's say the marketing meeting or the all hands meeting is now scheduled on Fridays instead of Wednesdays, we can edit the message here. Sorry. And then click Save Message. And then that way you don't have to worry about updating the entire message or canceling the recurring message. You can just edit in line. Okay, cool. And then the email settings here, this is when you do get messages returned to your inbox, these are the options that you can have them returned as. You can have them returned as flagged, unread, or at the top of your inbox. So I'll have those all checked and I'll click Save. And that's Boomerang in a nutshell for managing your email more efficiently. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to open this up to questions. So if you have any questions on the attendee chat list, feel free to add them here. I'm going to be reading through some of the ones that we've already received. So just give me a second while I go through them. Okay, cool. So someone's asking about using multiple email addresses on their Outlook application, and if they would need separate Boomerang accounts for if they're only using one Outlook application, but multiple email addresses. So that's a really good question. And yeah, so if you do have multiple email accounts, you're going to need multiple Boomerang accounts because your Boomerang account is tied to your email address. And so so yeah, if you have multiple Outlook email addresses that you want to use, you would have to use separate Boomerang accounts. Another question that we have is about the different pricing options that we offer. So Boomerang is free for 10 message credits. And then we have a paid plan for unlimited messages. So obviously, like the reason why I was showing you some of these features is because if you are paying us, you could use it unlimited. And I would highly recommend just using it for every single message that you're sending out or that you are receiving, because it'll make you more productive, and it'll help you. And then also you don't pay extra by using more message credits. It's just you're either paying or you're not paying. So let's say if a message credit counts as like something that you would want to send later, or anything that you would want to boomerang for later. So if you're on the free plan, you get 10 message credits. If you are receiving or sending more than 10 messages a month, I would highly just recommend upgrading to the paid plan. It's the price tiers is $14.99 a month for a pro account, and so it's pretty good. You do get a discount if you pay for the annual subscription upfront. Okay, and then I have one more question about mobile and how if you can access this on your mobile device on Boomerang for Outlook, or on your Outlook app on your mobile device. So because Boomerang is an add-in, this add-in is only available for web. So you can use it on Outlook.com or on your Outlook application on your desktop. But for mobile, we don't have an add-in for the Outlook mobile app. What we actually have is a Boomerang app that you can integrate, or that you can add your Outlook email address to. So if you have Android or iOS, we have mobile apps that allow you to send later. That allows you to pause your inbox and schedule messages. And so you can download those. Those are free right now while you're in beta, so you don't have to worry about the message credits on mobile. It's in beta right now. So what we ask for is just like, if you have any issues or any feedback, just to send it in to us, and we'll be working on that. So yeah, a lot of the use cases I showed you today are for desktop and web, but it is fully compatible on mobile if you'd like to use our mobile app. Okay, I think those were all the questions for now that I can answer. If there are any specific questions about your account that you're having trouble with, or that you're seeing issues with, there's a email address on the screen right now. It's support+outlook@baden.com. And you can send us in your questions anytime, or you can tweet at us at Boomerang and send us a little bit more information with any screenshots that that you might have, and we'll be happy to look into it. But for now, I hope you guys were able to gain some knowledge from this webinar and are able to now manage your email inboxes a little bit more efficiently with Boomerang. All right, I'm going to hop off now, but thanks again for joining, and I'll be sending the recording out later this week. Take care, everyone. Bye.